Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. Today we are looking at the best-selling comic book of all time, Adjectiveless X-Men #1. This is a facsimile edition that just came out this past week, and whenever I see it, I'm gonna pick it up. I feel like this is the not the first facsimile edition, but perhaps I don't know. But either way, I'm gonna pick it up if I see it, just because I mean, it's one of the greatest comics of all time, the best-selling, the height of X-Men fever with Jim Lee and Chris Claremont, this gag worthy one, two, three, four, only four. Wow, only four gatefold cover pull out there, and then remember this puppy, the like the Jim Lee X-Men door poster. How crazy, right? Ambitious, I say so. I mean, it's weird because Jim Lee is arguably like one of the most popular comic book artists of a generation, and but he's kind of divisive in a way. Like I see people complain about his art, and like he definitely looks a little different than he does now, but I still think he's pretty amazing. So. This is the first issue of the Adjectiveless X-Men that came out, that was launched because of the popularity of Jim Lee, I think. So, famously, this is Chris Claremont's last story arc. Claremont would leave after 3 issues, then Lee and would sort of take over as the writer, and he would eventually jump ship to go to Image Comics with the rest of the Image founders and start Wildcats, and then sell it to DC eventually, and then become the president of DC. So whatever. You could have been the president of Marvel, Jim Lee, and I think that would have been better. I don't know. Are you as excited about Jim Lee's DC stuff as you are his like X-Men? Probably not. This is like, it's hard to beat this. Chris Claremont, writer, and Jim Lee, co-potters, penciler Jim Lee, Scott Williams, inker, Tom Orzechowski, letterer, Joe Rosas, colorist, and Susan Gaffney, assistant editor. I mean, say what you want about Jim Lee, fan or not, it's hard to not gasp at this like beautiful double-page spread of Magneto. It looks amazing. I'm gonna have to bust out my Jim Lee X-Men Artist Edition again soon and look at it, because this is just next level. I mean, I remember this coming out and just being like so gagged. Like, I love the way. I mean, and let's not discount what Scott Williams brings to the table. Like, there is a reason that Scott Williams has been Jim Lee's exclusive inker for the past 30 years. I mean, Jim Lee actually inks a lot of his own stuff now, so I'm not sure how closely they work together. But I'm guessing if Lee is going to be doing interiors, then Williams will probably be inking it. And that's how you make your career in comics as a successful inker. Attach yourself to someone like Jim Lee, seriously. It's so funny. I remember when this came out, and the thing that bothered me the most was Colossus's flesh-colored legs. So the weird thing about Colossus is that, like, because all their clothes are made out of unstable molecules, which is so, like basically like saying it's magic. So whatever problem you might have with your clothes is going to be solved by these unstable molecules if you have powers. But so he had blue leggings in the beginning, and then when he transformed to Colossus, they would somehow disappear to reveal his organic steel legs. The magic of comic books, people. Storm, way too overdressed. This is such a popular outfit for her. It's so interesting, too, is because this is supposed to be black with, like, white highlights, and really hard to capture that in animation. So that's why her costume basically looks white in the X-Men cartoon, and I think that people sort of had the misconception that Storm's costume is supposed to be white. Do you agree with that? I don't know. I mean, I'm okay with a white costume Storm. Storm looks great in any color. She's easily my favorite X-Man woman person. I mean, there were just such beautiful images in this, no pun intended, in this first issue. Like, even Xavier looks so good. Like, I just love the scenes at home at the X-Men. I feel like Jim Lee is kind of a John Byrne fan, and it shows in certain quiet moments like that. And this, like, come on, how great is that? This actually looks so good in the artist edition. Oh my god, this page here. Like, the money shots are just, like, endless in this book, as they should be. Is it any the reason this is the best-selling comic of all time, by the way, is because it basically had 5 different covers. It had first week had this cover, then like this cover, then eventually like they would release all 4, culminating with a collection of all 5 covers with the folded gate out. So that's how you really make it the best-selling comic book of all time. I think like 8 million copies or something like that. That will never be done again. I do not think that will ever be done again. Superman comic books sold like in the millions when he first came out, but people really embraced comic books. I feel like, it was just like a part of like Leave It to Beaver. Like little boys just read comic books, and now that isn't the case. You know what I mean? It's like you don't it's such a niche thing. I don't even know how people become comic book fans these days, but they do. They must, right? I can't believe that once the last 40-year-old comic book fan dies, that there will be no, fandom left. But I mean, how cool is that? Wolverine. I mean, I don't know. Like, is there anything better than Chris Claremont writing the X-Men? I've really enjoyed his Extreme X-Men and his Gambit series. I hope he is doing more. He has been really acing it, and just the flavor of Chris Claremont is so delicious. Love that panel here. Love this. Like, there's so much going on here, and then you got this little, like, establishing shot done in a silhouette. Very simple, but very cool looking at the same time. It's a nice added touch. Magneto, he should have like a snifter of Cavassier and I would say a cigar, but this is after, maybe a blunt these days. I don't know, but this is after Marvel banned smoking in comic books, rightfully so. Oh, look at the masonry, black and white checkered floor. That would make total sense if like Magneto were like a Freemason or part of like, a secret society or something. I mean, wouldn't that make sense? It would make total sense. I mean, he is in a way. Remember when they had like the Illuminati? Was he part of that? Like the Reed Richards, Charles Xavier? He had to have been. There's no way they were going to leave out Max. That's something like that. Do you think? Great shot there. I mean, all of these pages probably sold for bazillion dollars and will continue to sell for bazillion dollars. I mean, I actually heard a rumor that the Image founders used to have meetings and talk about how to make the most money possible and the importance of having a money shot on every single page for the sellability of the pages. Cool page there. Can you believe it? How sinister. An artist wanting to make money off of their art. I mean, Marvel's going to make money off of this for till the end of time. You know what I mean? Like, they're always going to reprint this. A Jim Lee X-Men is always going to be sought after. It's just the way it is. And I have to say, like, see, it's like, Chris Claremont is, like, definitely hitting on all cylinders here. I remember really enjoying this story, and he's like, I'm still here, damn it. I'm going to write every single word I want to write, and you're not going to stop me. And nobody should. So cool. The beginning of the end, really. I mean, X-Men was never as good after Claremont left in my world, so, I mean, I continued to follow it to some extent. Like, how beautiful is that? So good. A villains gallery. I mean, Jim Lee, where did you find the time? Like, it's just so amazing. This is beautiful, classic comic book art for you people. Look at this. It's the inevitable point in an Image comic book. That's what I always say when I do my review of Image books, where I have to turn the book sideways. And look at this gorgeous shot of the original X-Men. See, now, if Jean looked like that when she showed up on the door step of the X-Men, you could see why everyone's completely in love with her. Or you could otherwise, too, right? Who doesn't love a telepathic, psychopathic, firebird, fire crotch? Wish you were here. So interesting, right? I mean, I love the X-Men at home. Especially if they're hanging by the pool and Colossus is in a thong. Wow. how to start your Saturday. Okay. What's his name? I forgot his name. Omega Red. Ooh, sketchbook. See, it's funny because, like, if you look at Jim Lee's finished art to his sketches, it's pretty sketchy. You wouldn't expect that, would you? How sketchy. Covered issue 2. I mean, it really was beautiful art. Let's face it, kids. Such a classic. Anyway, fun Facsimile edition, X-Men #1. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button. I'll bring you more later.